Buongiorno classe, come state? Sto molto bene, grazie. Oggi in classe noi facciamo le note. Today in class we're going to take some notes on grammatica, specifically definite articles. Now, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Grammatica means grammar, but it doesn't have to be scary sounding. See? Now, first and foremost, siccome un video, since this is a video, the first thing you should know is I know my video doesn't work, so you can't see me. Pero ci sto. I'm here. Seconda cosa, second thing. Since this is a video, you can pause this at any time to rewind, go back, or write down notes and listen to it again. See? All right. So la prima parte, the first part, is that you'll notice if we scroll down, this is a double-sided handout. Pero facciamo, but we are only doing davanti, the front side today. Now, oggi in classe cominciamo. We'll start with these notes. Specifically, voi scrivete, you are writing down whatever io scrivo, whatever I write in rosso, in red. Okay? So get your matite pronte, your pencils ready so we can get started with our notes. Prima cosa, first things first, scrivete vostro nome, write your name down. Okay? And now let's take a look at these rules. Now, the rules have to do with articles, gender, and number. Now, when I'm talking about articles, it kind of has to do with what we talked about l'ultima classe last class. Now, articles does not refer to ESPN or New York Times articles. We're talking about a specific part of speech in Inglese and also in Italiano. In English, we have words like nouns, verbs, adverbs. Well, we also have articles, and this really is a fancy schmancy way to say the in English. Now, in Italian, we have a couple different ways to say the. As you guys can see, we have il, L apostrophe, lo. We also have la and L apostrophe down here. Okay. There are a couple of rules in Italiano. Articles must agree with the noun in terms of gender, maschile or femminile, and number, singolare and plurale. Now, gender we talked about l'ultima classe, last class, right? Where we have things like gendered words in Italiano, l'isola, the island, or, for example, il vulcano, the volcano. Now, masculine nouns, what we typically end in Italiano, are the lettera O, the letter O. And again, I'm writing this down or typing it down in rosso, in red, so you should type it down as well. Feminine nouns typically end in A. For example, isola, spiaggia. Of course, pause whenever you need to write these down. Now, we're going to start with le regole maschili, the masculine rules. As you can see, we have three of them, il, L apostrofo, and lo. And this is our gigante chart, our big chart, that useremo, that we're going to use to figure these out. Now, you'll notice we have plurale, plural. We're not doing that, bocci. We're just focusing on il singolare, all right? The next thing you'll notice here is in front of. So that means these articles, il, L apostrophe, and lo, are used in front of specific words. And here I'll give you some examples that you'll write down as well. We'll then wrap up with pratica, the practice section. Again, voi potete fare pausa, you can pause at any time. All right, now here, again, I'm going to rosso red, so get ready to write some stuff down. Il comes in front of any word that starts with a consonant. Okay, so here we're looking at la prima lettera, the first letter of a word in Italiano, a consonant. That's any word that starts with B, D, F, for example. Okay, for example, il vulcano, right? Vulcano starts with a consonant. Oh, first little letter there. All right. Another example might be il mare, right? Now here you're probably like, wait a second, Mr. Stefano, mare ends with an E, it doesn't end with an O. See, yes, you're right. And I'll get to that in un minuto, in a minute, okay? Next thing here, again, L apostrophe. Here we're starting, these are words that start with a vowel. Now, if you remember our vowel dance from the beginning of l'anno scolastico, we know it is A, E, I, O, U. and sometimes Y, but we don't really have Y in Italiano. Here we have the example of l'oceano. Oh, l'oceano. Okay. Oceano starts with a vowel O. Oceano. We might even have the example of the friend, l'amico. Starts with a vowel. Last but certainly not least, and this is really, really weird, okay? Now, lo is also masculine, and you're probably all thinking of an example. We'll write it down. We're skipping ahead, but lo stivale, right? That's probably the one that comes to mind here, okay? So you're like, wait a second, Mr. Stefano. It starts with an S. Isn't that a consonant? C. Yes. Okay. However, lo comes in front of words that start with PS, like psicologo, psychologist, GN, like nomo, a gnome, Z, like zero, or zyno, backpack, and S plus consonant. Okay. Now, that's kind of weird. S plus consonant. So that's a perfect example of lo stivale, ST, S plus consonant. I'm going to write down some other examples so that way you have a better idea of what they are. We have low, zero, maybe low, nomo, okay, the gnome, for example. All right, here we go. So now let's take a look at this pratica section. Okay. Now, a couple things that we need to do. La prima cosa, the first thing that you'll notice is that these words are already maschile. We know they're masculine here because they end in la lettera O. Okay. So now we need to figure out which article goes in front. Now, here we have to look at la prima lettera, the first letter of the word. Ragazzo, R, R. Does it start with a consonant? C, yes. Okay, so that means it could be ill. Does it start with a vowel? No. Does it start with PS, GN, Z, or S plus consonant? No, right? It's an R. So that means it has to be dun, 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 il ragazzo. Now, take a deep breath, because if you're like Mr. Stefano, how am I supposed to memorize all of these? Well, a couple different things. One, this is one of the trickiest things that noi impareremo, that we're going to learn nella classe di italiano ever, right? So la prima cosa, if you remember back to l'anno scolastico, the beginning of the year, the first thing I said would be super difficile were the vowel sounds. La seconda cosa, the second thing that's going to be super difficult, are these articles, the il, los, and las, okay? Because we only have one way to say the in Italiano. So if you're like Mr. Stefano, how am I supposed to memorize all of these? A couple different things. One, when we're studying vocabulario, it's important to remember that instead of just memorizing vulcano, we memorize the whole word, il vulcano. La seconda cosa, the second thing, is that I'm not super concerned with memorizing the ills, los, and las, but really how to use this chart. That for me is ancora più importante, even more important. Now, let's move on to la seconda, the second one. Amico. We know it's masculine. It starts with a vowel. So it automatically has to be L apostrophe. Next one, gatto. Meow, it means cat, okay? Gatto starts with a G, all right? Now, it does not start with GN, right? Just G. So that means it cannot be low. It cannot be L apostrophe. It has to be, dun, 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 il, okay? Here we go. All right. L'oceano, well, yes, here you have it as an esempio, an example, but the reason it's L apostrophe is because it starts with a vocale, vowel. All right. Next one, we have lago, the word for lake. Well, it's not a it is a consonant, so it could be ill, but let's double check here, right? Does it start with a vowel? No. Does it start with PS, GN, Z, S plus consonant? No. So it has to be il lago. Last, but certainly not least, and voi potete vedere, you can see here, of course, vulcano, I know it's an example one, but it is il. And I know that I went really fast here, but again, ricordate, remember, we're thinking about these masculine words and la prima lettera, the first letter Of course, yes, C, it would be super facile, super easy if we just memorized the ills, los, and las as we get our lista di vocabolario. All right, let's move down to femminile, feminine now. This is pretty facile, pretty easy. Perché abbiamo, we only have two, okay? So here we have la and L apostrofo, and I'll give you a hint. One of them comes in front of a vowel, and one of them comes in front of a consonant. Let's take a look if we scroll up. Which one comes in front of a vowel? If you said L apostrofo, then C, you are correct. L apostrophe comes in front of a vowel, any word that starts with a vowel. So that means, la comes in front of any word that starts with a consonant. So let's do some examples here. La words. We might have a la word like la, pen in sola, right? La pen in sola. Why is it auto-correcting me? Pen isola. There we go. Okay, la penisola. Perfect, perfecto. Starts with a consonant. The next one, maybe we have la ragazza, the girl. And yes, I know that it's here as an example as well, right? Now we have words that start with a vowel. Here from our vocab list, I'm thinking of words like l'isola, island, right? Un altro esempio, another example, maybe not from our vocab list, but l'amica, the friend, okay? So again, here we have examples of words that are feminine. They both end in a, all of them end in a, right? And we have words that start with a consonant that have L apostrofo in front, and la goes in front as well. Now, ricordate, remember, this is weird in Italiano, but again, gendered words exist in languages other than Inglese. Languages like Portoghese, Portuguese, Francese, French, Spagnolo, Spanish, Tedesco, German, Albanese, Albanian, all have gendered languages. So let's take a look here. My helpful hint, and yes, this is spelled correctly, darn you, Google, is that these are all femminile. They're all feminine words. Okay, so that's helpful hint numero uno. Numero due, we need to take a look at la prima lettera, the first letter. Isola starts with a vowel, so that means it has to be L apostrophe. Next up, numero due. Amica starts with a vowel, so that means it has to be L apostrophe. Perfecto, perfect. Ragazza, girl. Yes, I know this is an example one, but we know it starts with a vowel, so it has to be la. It starts with a vowel, starts with a consonant, sorry. Peninsula. Again, I know it's a practice one, but it starts with a consonant, so it has to be la. All right. Bandiera, the flag, starts with a consonant, so it has to be la. And then last but not least for the pratica here, città, city. And yes, that's spelled correctly. Starts with a consonant, so it has to be la. Perfecto. Perfect. All right. So at this time, just to recap, we have masculine words and feminine words in Italiano. Words that start with a consonant in the masculine sense have il in front of them. Words that start with a vowel, no matter whether it's maschile or femminile, start with L apostrofo. And then, of course, PS, GN, Z, or S plus consonant has a low in front of it. La goes in front of feminine words that start with a consonant, and L apostrofo goes in front of feminine words that start with a vowel. So now, a couple of different things here. Let's do this pratica section. These are all parole. All of these are words nel singolare, in the singular form. Okay. Now, the first thing we need to do is figure out is the word maschile or femminile. Here we take a look at the last lettera, the last letter. If it ends in a, that means it is femminile. So we use this chart. Amica is femminile. It starts with a vowel, so that means it is L apostrophe. Gelato. One of my favorites. It's like an Italian, well, it's Italian ice cream, but it's better than regular ice cream, in my opinion. And yes, I know I'm biased. Gelato ends in O, so it has to be maschile, masculine. It starts with a G, so let's take a look. Well, it starts with a consonant, G, so it could be il. It does not start with a vowel, so it's not LA apostrofo. It starts with a G, not a GN, so it cannot be low. So it is il gelato. Acqua, water. That's the next one. I made a typo there. Acqua, feminine. Starts with a vowel, right? Here, it doesn't matter what word it is, masculine, feminile. If it starts with a vowel, it has to be L apostrofo, L apostrophe. Is that going to highlight? We'll see. There we go. All right. Il ragazzo ends in an O, starts with an R, R. Okay. Let's take a look. It starts with a consonant, not a vowel. Does not start with P, S, G, N, Z, or S plus consonant. So it has to be il. Now, at this time, we did 1 through 4 insieme, together. Voi fate, you are going to do 5 all the way through 15. My formatting got funny here, on your own, using the notes and the chart. I know that some of you are going to be like, wait a second, Mr. Stefano, esame, it ends with an E. Oh no, what are we going to do? It's okay because it starts with a vowel. Next one, you might be like, wait a second, Mr. Stefano. Zombie, I know. I'll put a helpful hint here. It is maschile, masculine. That should help you out. Psicologo, that's spelled correctly. And elefante, you're going to be like, Mr. Stefano, wait, is it maschile or femminile? I'm telling you, it doesn't matter because it starts with a consonant. Nicely done. All right. Buona fortuna or in bocca al lupo. Good luck. We're going to go over these in classe la prossima volta, next time we meet. Ciao.